on the outside coming through on the inside would be a nightmare.
I love it. Okay.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live.
Welcome everybody to WagerTalk Today. I am Lawrence Presman with a swollen left eye. He is Teddy Covers with a swollen ego. And you're watching the best all sports betting daily, all sports daily betting show on the universe, planet, world. Teddy Covers, who's on the show today and what are they going to be talking about?
If that was the first time someone had ever watched WagerTalk Today, they'd be like, what did I just tune into? On today's show, Rob Veno is going to lead us off. He's got some early start MLB to talk about. We're going to talk Giants and Twins, that one, first pitch in just about an hour. We're also going to talk some Celtics Heat Game 5 off of Boston's fourth quarter runout last night to extend the series. Andrew McInnis is going to join us next. He's got some NHL to talk about, Carolina and Florida. We're also going to talk Latvia versus in soccer. Arthur DiCesare from the Westgate Superbook is going to join us to close out the show. Of course, we'll do our BS segment. We've got a couple of great questions yesterday. And if we get 100 likes, Lawrence will have a presidential address to close out the show. So that sets the agenda. Let's get right into it.
Teddy, before we bring Rob Veno on, I want to make mention, and I want to talk. We're doing a mini BS segment, if you will, right now, right off the top of the show. Before we get into that, I went 0-3 yesterday. I had a disaster. I apologize, but there is two pieces of really good news that happened has happened since. First, in the middle of my insane, unbelievable, ridiculous, massive run since October, I have gone 0-5 twice. I've gone 0-3 twice. And I have bounced back and won the next 6 days in a row. So it happens. We move on. I'm sorry. But the best piece of news ever is that a gentleman yesterday, no names, bought my Prez 54 7-day all-access package, went 0-3, and demanded a refund. That is the greatest single thing for the rest of my clients. Whenever I'm in a slump, and Teddy, I don't know if you're like this, but if you're in a slump, you lose 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, 5 days in a row, then one guy demands a refund. Bam! Off to the races we go. It is always important to have someone regret. So thank you, sir. Teddy, I have a question, but anything to add about that?
So you recognize that the gentleman who requested a refund had no impact on your plays last night, and he will have no impact on your plays tonight.
I do not recognize that at all.
It's all in your head.
I refuse to recognize that. So, Teddy, here's my question to you. Andrew Wojcicki, awesome listener, love the man. He wrote, anybody feel stupid after betting the Stars last night? I bet the Stars last night. I released the Stars last night. And I never, and this is my question to you, I never feel stupid about a losing bet. I mean, I'm going to have lots of them. It was the wrong play, but it was the right situation. And I would make that bet again. Do you ever feel stupid? Like literally, like I'm a moron idiot when you you do?
All the time. I felt like an idiot last night, and I'm going to talk about it and what bettors learned and what a giant, big, fat, stupid idiot I was last night. And what poor decisions I made and how I got to those decisions and why I didn't see the red flags blinking. And absolutely. I would love to say I never feel like I'm an idiot. a moron.
No, you know what? For
But
me, dude,
it happens
I get
all
mad
the
at
time.
myself. I get mad at myself.
I was
Right.
furious
But I
at
don't
myself
feel
last
like
night.
an idiot.
And it was funny because I had a buddy who was texting me because I full disclosure, I had Tampa last night. They lost 20-1, and my buddy was texting me, giving me grief. You know, and I'm like, yeah, that was a
Tampa
really
last night too.
Yeah, and I'm like, it was a terrible play in red. You know, it was a terrible play an inning in. You know, 2 innings in, and he's
Yes,
and he's like, so he's giving me grief about it. I'm like, you don't need to give me grief about it, buddy. I'm giving myself enough grief about it. You know.
Teddy,
Thanks,
it
but
was
no
a
thanks.
bad play. It was a wrong play. But I don't feel like an idiot for making it. I mean, you do your work, you make your decisions, you put them up, and you hope you win more than you lose. Anyway, real quick, everybody, first pitch is not live today. It was taped. It's up now at our WagerTalk TV channel. Yes, Mike Love. Rob Veno, welcome to the show, my brother. And anything to add so far?
Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, wherever you are. I would probably side with you, Prez, on that last little bit of the agenda there. When we put our plays up, when we make our bets, we don't make them because we think they're stupid. We make them because we think they're winners as soon as we go ahead and bet them. So to that extent, I don't really ever feel like an idiot after I make the play. Maybe a little disappointed for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I don't feel, if I felt like an idiot when I put it up, what am I putting it up for? So no, I don't, I don't bet things and feel like an idiot afterwards. That's probably the extent of my addition to your back and forth conversation. And I don't want to get in Andrew McInnis's way because on top of giving out winning picks, he's got to do a geography lesson on Halifax this morning. So let me go quick.
Oh, yes. I'm looking forward to that. Rob Veno, we love having you on, man. A real pro. You're awesome at this stuff. Let's get into game one of our discussions. A 1:10 p.m. Eastern start. Minnesota and San Francisco. You've got a bet for us on the first 5 innings. What is it?
Yeah, I'm going to try under here, Prez, and for some basic reasons, and then for some, reasons that you have to dig a little bit. But obviously, getaway day game after night game. Situations exist where lineups get a little bit altered because it is a day game after a night game, and also umpiring crews that want to get the heck on a plane and get out of the city fairly quickly. Even though we have a pitch clock now, they could do it a little bit quicker. Today's home plate umpire, Todd Tishnor, has been a very good under, or at least low scoring umpire to date here. He's had 9 home plate assignments so far. In his 9 games, the average runs scored 7.1. Full game, that would keep you under the total. If you break it down even further, you'll find that about 2/5, 40% of the runs that have been scored in his games come from bullpen arms, not starters arms. So we're going to take the 2 starters here to keep us under for first 5. The Twins lineup, obviously a little bit weakened, losing Carlos Correa a couple of days ago. And I know Carlos Correa had not been off to a good start, but the 10 games he played prior to injury, he was picking it up again. He had raised his batting average 33 points. He had raised his on-base percentage 54 points, all in 10 games. So he was on the move. Minnesota hasn't been scoring well at all lately, held to 4 runs or less in 5 of their last 6 games. Looking at the starting pitchers here real quick, guys. The first and second time through, I'm going to go to a number I found this morning. I was not aware of this, found it this morning. I'll use it here on the air. The first 75 pitches thrown by each starting pitcher here for the season. The first 75 pitches Anthony DiSclafani throws in a start so far have averaged out to a 0.96 whip and a 226 batting average against. Really good first couple of times through. That helps our 5 inning under. Joe Ryan, even better. First 75 pitches, 0.87 whip, 196 batting average against. So you got 2 guys that tricked the lineup first time through. And Minnesota and San Francisco are not teams that see each other a lot. So obviously the 2 pitchers here probably hold an advantage over the starting lineups. With this game, when you're playing under early, you want to try and keep the ball in the park. Both guys have been really good at that. Both pitchers have only allowed 1 home run every 14 innings pitched. So if we don't see the long ball, if we have a good under umpire, if we have two starters that are really good first times through, day game after a night game getaway, probably no reason not to try under 4 here. First 5 innings. Think the number was 120 about an hour ago, minus 120. So we'll lay it here. First 5 innings, under 4, San Francisco, Minnesota.
Rob, you just came out with a stat, and I know every stat in every sport. I don't know where you found this, and I'm fascinated by it. You had the umpire runs allowed broken down. Was it by first 5 or by bullpen versus by starter? Where'd you get that? And is that something that you use in your handicap? Because to me, that's not a stat that I'm familiar with, and I'm really interested. It piqued my interest.
Yeah. You know what? I found that on a very, very popular website, TC. I'll shoot it over to you. I'm sure we all use it. It had it broken down between starter and reliever, how many runs allowed by the umpire. So that was the first time I've ever seen it in years of using this particular website. So again, shoot it to you once we're done here. But yeah, it makes it a little bit, I don't know, a little more informative to how things are going early, how things are going late. And I guess, with that being said, Teddy, we know bullpens explode each and every night. So maybe it's not that big of a deal. I just thought it was here.
There you go, Rob Veno, everyone. Rob, let's move our attention to the next game on tap.
Yeah.
Miami and Boston. I had the over 52.5 in the first half last night for Boston. I did not get there. And then they come out in the third quarter and kick ass. I'm curious, Rob. I want your bet here. And I also want to know, in the history of the NBA, no team has come back from 3-0, down 3-0. No team. Is this the time that ends? Because it will end. I mean, it will happen. So tell us about the game, and is it worth looking at Boston making a comeback?
Well, it certainly has a different feel than it had, 18 hours ago, right, Prez? 18 hours ago, I don't think any of us thought this thing was going to or Boston had a chance to win this thing in 7 games. But then you see the game last night and you say to yourself, well, they're coming back home. Maybe they get that. They go back to Miami. Maybe they're a little more confident. Then they come back home for 7. So it's never impossible. I don't know that I trust Boston to put up the performance that they put up last night 4 consecutive times. So I would probably think that it won't happen, but I'm not going to say 100% it's not going to happen because this is a perfect situation. Miami's not that deep of a team. And perhaps as the series goes on, they, get a little fatigued and maybe Boston does take advantage. We will see. There's a lot of ways I'm thinking about playing this game already. We have a day still to decide, but here's one that I'll likely get involved with, guys. The field goal percentage in this series, both teams combined, has been fantastic. 48.5% field goal percentage. Miami shooting 50% through 4 games. Boston 47% through 4 games. The potential points scored, which is a statistic I like to keep for myself, it basically lets me know how many points would have been scored in the game if, in fact, every single shot had gone through the basket. And that number has been really consistent in this series. Game 1, if every shot went through the hoop that was put up, they'd have scored 440. Game 2, 446. Game 4, 447. The outlier is game 3, where it would have been 473, even higher. And that's the game where Boston had their worst shooting game from 3 in their last 23 contests, their worst shooting game from the field in their last 26. So that game still got over because garbage time provided us, I think, like a 75-point fourth quarter, somewhere in that vicinity. The odds makers have pretty much found the spot to place this full game total. 215.5, really good spot. 2 of the last 3 games have hit 215 and 216. So where can I find some value playing over in a series where the shooting's been real good? And once again, the first place I turn to is the Miami team total over. Here we're listed at 103.5. Miami's played 13 playoff games so far this postseason. They've gone over 103.5 12 times. 15 games 12 times. So 80% of the time, they're over 103.5. Last night, 99 points scored in a game where they only shot 25% from three, 8 of 32. They were due to regress a little bit at some point in a game, but they missed 11 shots, guys, from 6 feet or less from the rim, just outside the restricted area on their shot chart. 11 shots from 6 feet or less. Not going to miss 11 shots from that distance once again. So they're still getting plenty of opportunity, and they got to 99, missing all of those shots. I think the pace will still be there. Of the 3 teams remaining, Miami is the fastest tempo team in the playoffs of the 3 remaining, and they've shown you they want to push. They play smaller. They want to push a little bit. Boston pushes back fast at home. So I think one of the ways, guys, that I'm definitely going to look is this Miami over 103.5. I just don't know that Boston has that great of a defensive effort as they played last night in the second half in them once again.
Rob says, look at the Heat team total over for Game 5. Now, I'm curious, Rob, because Ralph Michaels was on here, I think it was last Friday, and he showed us a pretty chart that said, you don't want to be playing Game 5 overs in these series. You don't want to be playing Game 6 overs in these series. And it's pretty clear, of Game 2s, Game 5s, and Game 6s in particular had a bent to the under. Does that concern you at all here?
Well, I'm just looking for again, Teddy, and those are good. And, you have to take everyone individual, but I'm looking for a number that you can exploit here that I just don't think the odds makers have thoroughly compensated for. And it's got to be the Miami team total. If I go back regular season, I only gave you the playoffs 12-3, but if I go back the regular season, like their last 20 games, you're going to find 19 more times that they went over 103 or either pushed or went over. So it's something that the odds makers haven't really corrected. Now, from Game 1 to now, it's gone from 101.5 to 103.5. So there's been an adjustment, but Miami's still hitting this number on the road as well. So I'm going to give it a try again, Teddy, until they push it. Like last night, they're 109 at home. I thought was too high. Now you've gone too far. But here, this number I think is beatable. It's shown to be beatable, so we'll try it again.
Rob Veno, everyone. Rob Teddy, Boston is plus 240 to win the series. That seems really bad bet 240? Wouldn't you think it would be higher than that, Teddy?
The Celtics will be favored in every game remaining in this series. When you're trying to figure out what a series price is going to be, just take the money line for each game and average it out. That's what it is right here. That's what the price is.
Thank you for your
mathematical
condescending tone. Rob, what do you have to promote?
That number is way too low, Prez, plus 240.
Oh, don't worry. Wait, Teddy, lecture Rob now, too, please.
No, we understand how it's made.
Rob, you stupid man. The way it works is if you just randomly guess at what the money line would be over the next 3 games, and then you work it out, you stick it up your ass, you puke it out your mouth, you clean your freaking ear, and then you get the number. Oh, yeah. I don't want to hear from you, Teddy.
Lawrence. It's not a random guess. You don't randomly guess what the money line is going to be.
What do you got to promote, Rob?
I apologize for poking the bear, TC. We're going to promote daytime baseball here today. A couple of plays up and available. One I've already given you guys that is out for clients. And then we have another play from nighttime action, the best bet from nighttime action. So go ahead and move over to wagertalk.com. On my page there, you'll find the best bet and an additional daytime baseball play. Also USFL, guys. I didn't speak a lot about it, but these off-brand sports that a lot of us do here at wagertalk.com, the USFL and XFL totals, the spring football leagues, have been really, really good to me total-wise. 66% winners over the course of, it started in February, so it's about 3 months now, a little over 3 months. USFL, 2 best bet totals going this week that will be posted this afternoon, so keep an eye out for that. Once again, over at wagertalk.com.
Awesome stuff, Rob Veno, everyone. Teddy covers. What did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting last night?
So I decided to talk about the Jays and the Rays. I think Toronto was only up 10-1 at that point before their position players got involved and gave up 10 more runs in the last 2 innings that made the game an even bigger embarrassment for Tampa Bay. And obviously, full disclosure, I had the Rays yesterday. One of 2 stupid bets that I made yesterday. Although I'm still riding a 68% run over the last 12 days. I can't complain too much. That being said, let's talk about these two teams and where my thought process went wrong. Right now, after last night's loss, Tampa's 35-15. The Jays 26-23 after last night's win. Tampa, right now, even after last night's loss, they're still top 5 in profitability. They're still, I think, 22-5 at home. They're 29-18 to the over. They've been hitting. Toronto, middle of the pack when it comes to profitability. They're down a couple of units, nothing major. They're 24-23 to the over. They haven't been hitting. There's about 9 units worth of difference between these two teams right now. We're 50 games into the season. The question is, who are we going to make more money with over the next 112 games? The Rays don't have the better lineup. Jays and murderers row lineup. They really do. The Rays, number 2 in ERA. Jays, number 11. I would expect them to trend towards each other, not drift apart. It's not like Tampa Bay staff is ace after ace. Toronto's the clear choice for which of these two teams is going to be more profitable moving forward. All right. They're 6-13 versus the AL East. That'll improve. The Rays, a modest 11-8 in division. They've been able to feast on the weak. When you look at strength of schedule year to date, the Jays have played the 3rd toughest. The Rays have played the 23rd toughest. Rays' remaining schedule ranks number 6. So when you see a game that looks lined really cheap like Tampa was yesterday, and you know the long-term value is on the other side, like Toronto was yesterday, in theory, your thought processes put you towards the Blue Jays, not the Rays. I didn't take Toronto today. I was tempted, but I don't like to do that. If I lose yesterday, I'm not going to 20-1. I'm not going to come back and take the other team and then lose today. You know, if that's in my mind the way to get yourself into trouble. But in general, we're looking for spots to bet on Toronto right now. Tampa Bay, not so much. Lawrence?
Teddy, that was a great take. And a lot of good stuff in there. Firstly, we spoke briefly yesterday about that. Toronto, such a good team. They win one game, they're going to go on a roll. But with that said, I mean, it makes total sense. Tampa Bay is not winning 35 out of every 50 games moving forward, and Toronto is likely going to win more than out of every 50 than they have now, which I think is 26 games. So that's a great take. But the second part, which I found so interesting, and it consumes me during the NFL season, is that concept of I missed it yesterday. Like, I bet Tampa Bay yesterday, they lost. Now I'm going to come back with the Jays. I can't do that. I can't. I'm consumed by that in the NFL season. It drives me bonkers because you know what the right bet to make is, but you end up flip-flopping, and you never get it right, and all you want to do is kill yourself. So I'm with you on that. That makes I'm totally with you on that whole piece. Now we got to bring Andrew McInnis in because, my God, this show's going long. Andrew, real quick, brother, you're from Halifax. Welcome to the show. You're from Halifax. I don't know if you were on at the beginning prior to the show, but Teddy was saying Halifax is the only city that is 1 hour, what is it, on Atlantic time. And I'm like, yeah, Atlantic I don't think time. So, Teddy.
Yeah, they're an hour.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think so,
There's
Teddy.
No other cities in Canada?
Yeah,
little
so
towns, maybe.
Teddy's attitude. So I say to Teddy, well, what about Prince Edward Island? There's cities in Newfoundland. There's cities in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. Teddy's like,
Halifax.
Yeah, but all of those cities are just Halifax. But you need volume, Andrew. It's crucially important to the show. Yeah.
I'm not muted.
Now you're not muted.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, look, I mean, actually interesting. A lot of people probably don't know this. Not that anybody would really know where Newfoundland is anyway, but Newfoundland is actually a half an hour ahead of me. So Newfoundland actually has their own time zone as well, which is kind of funny.
Half an hour?
They're a half an hour.
I'm Canadian. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so obviously New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia are all on Atlantic time, and Newfoundland is a half an hour ahead of that. So, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I saw Dave Sherapan talking about how he's East Coast visiting his brother right now, And I'm always going at it with the West Coasters. And I know, Teddy, what your side is and what you like. But I will say this. Dave Sharapan's message to me yesterday on Twitter, it kind of made sense to me. He's like, all right, Andrew, you move out to Vegas for 10 years and tell me that you're not going to be able to, you're going to be able to easily switch back. Because I think if I got used to the early start time for games, I wouldn't want to go back either. I think sports are personally meant to be watched at night, Teddy. That's my opinion. But I think if I was out there for 10 years, I wouldn't be able to go back either,
Yeah. Well, I was out there for 6 months, and I was more than happy to go back. Andrew, let's get into it, man. Carolina and Florida, unbelievable what is going on with this Florida team. They made the playoffs because Pittsburgh lost their last 2 games, and they made the playoffs by 1 point. Then they made it to the second round on a last-minute goal against Boston, and the puck luck just continues. Last game, they were dominated, completely outshot. They had a high-sticking penalty that wasn't called, which would have given Carolina a 6-on-4. Everything that could possibly go right for this Florida team has. Now they're playing tonight minus 115. Full disclosure, everybody, I bet $100 parlay this morning. I bet $100 on Carolina and Boston to both win the series. It pays $3,700. So 100 pays 3,700. I have made that bet, so I clearly think there is a chance. What do we do in this game, Andrew?
Well, Prez, first of all, I got to give you credit because you were the one that was talking about Florida and how you believed in them. And I got to give credit when credit's deserved.
Joe Ranieri.
I came on here about a month and a half ago and talked about Pittsburgh. And I'm not going to lie, I thought I was in a very good position. Like you said, they lost to the Anaheim Ducks and Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't think anybody really saw that happening, or the Blackhawks. And anyway, this Panthers team, the role they've gone on has been very impressive. Alex Lyon kind of took him to the dance. And then once they got to the dance, they switch over to Bobrovsky, the $10.5 million goaltender that they pay. And all of a sudden, he's gone to be that goalie they expect him to be. They need him to be. But Carmine made a great point on puck time. And I can't stop thinking about the fact that the team has really bought into Paul Maurice's coaching style. The Florida Panthers, their biggest issue was that they always had to win games by scoring 4 or 5 goals. They were a pond hockey team out there. They couldn't win low-scoring games. It wasn't in their blood. And you take a look at how they've won this series, and even against the Maple Leafs and against the Bruins, they were all based on good defense, the forwards buying in, and great goaltending. Now, this series has had 3 games played so far. Florida's up 3. In one of the games, Florida had to score 3 goals to win. In one of them, they had to score 2. In one of those games, they only had to score 1 goal to come out victorious. So I'm expecting Carolina to go out tonight and play a very similar style to how they all year long and all playoff long, because it's really the only option they have is to play very defensive. So what I'm going to do, guys, is take the Florida team total under 2.5. I'm getting plus 110 on it. And you see 2 of the 3 games so far in this series, they haven't even surpassed that number. So even though they're up 3-0, it's not as much because of their scoring and more so because of their defensive ability and their goaltending. So I'll take the plus money here, plus 110, plus 120 on Florida Panthers team total under 2.5 goals.
So I have a follow-up question for Lawrence. Lawrence, you talked about how you parlayed Florida and Boston. Why would you parlay those and not straight bet them?
Because it's $100 bet, and that's irrelevant to me. It's just literally a fun bet. So I do those. I do fun bets all the time. They're not actually, and this is an interesting topic, Teddy, but I have 2 bank accounts. So my actual bets, my 3%, 4%, 2% are bet out of my. Take a mutual fund, take stocks. 80 to 90% of my mutual funds are in safe stocks. blue chip stocks that are going to make 8% a year, give or take. And then I have about 15% that I buy day trade stocks with. I do exactly the same thing in sports betting. About 85% of my bankroll is straight bets, 3, 4, 5. They're big. They're all 4 figures. And then I have like 15% on the side just to throw around and have fun with it. So that's my answer, Teddy.
Prez, I was driving back from Boston the other day, and I hate that drive. I try and fly as much as I can. I had someone I was with doesn't really like flying. So I actually have very similar. I have several betting accounts, but I have one account that I use kind of for fun bets. And I took the Jays 2 days ago, Bassett on the mound. Schneider keeps him in there way too long, gets blown up, goes horribly. And Teddy, you were talking about the Jays yesterday. My buddy and I, we knew for a fact, we knew for a fact the Jays were going to win yesterday, not put up 20 runs, but because we turned the game on for entertainment purposes. We bet that game just so the ride would go faster, just for entertainment purposes. We're like, yeah, we'll toss some money, turn the radio on, listen to the play-by-play. Makes the drive miserable. We lose our bet, whatever. The next day I text my buddy, hey, the Jays scored 20. So that's just how that's how life works. But that was
I had the over in the first half of the Boston game last night. Third quarter, they put up 38 points. We got to get this moving, Andrew. Latvia against Sweden, minus 400 for Sweden, minus 1.5, minus 130 on the puck line, under 5. I'm guessing they think Latvia won't score. What do you like here? Real quick, no follow-ups.
Very quick, just like Rob spoke about with some of those smaller football leagues, there's a lot of money to be made in the World Hockey Championships, diving into the research, figuring out who's playing from the NHL, who's playing from these European leagues, who these teams have brought to the tournament. This will be day 1 of the elimination games. It'll be quarterfinals. Sweden is a very strong defensive team. They're the type of team that will get a 1 or 2 goal lead. They will protect it, guys. They will not try and bump the score up. Now, Latvia, I have been impressed by a little bit of their offensive capabilities. However, it's been against Slovenia and Kazakhstan, teams that, well, not very known for their hockey. So as much as Latvia has impressed me a little bit this tournament, Sweden is playing rock solid hockey. I have them as a bet right now to finish top 3 in the tournament, and I believe their defense will get them there. So no, I'm not taking the minus 400. I'm not taking the puck line. I'm taking the under 5. And anybody wondering, most sports books do offer this. In fact, I think all of them offer this. It'll be hard to find one that's not offering this. So I like the under 5. I believe Sweden will play a very good defensive game. Latvia's goaltender has been pretty solid so far in the tournament, made some big saves for them. So I'll take under 5 quarterfinal action World Hockey Championships.
Andrew McInnis with the Latvia-Sweden. Andrew, you didn't post what sport that was in. I assumed it was soccer.
Okay.
Apparently it's world hockey. And Prez didn't know, and I didn't know, so you promoted that wrong.
I knew it was hockey.
Really?
My apologies.
You did? How come you didn't post it in there? It just said Latvia versus Sweden
nuts?
Twice.
I'm watching these games.
I'm supposed to point it out.
I apologize.
I
apologize. It's all good. McInnis, what do you have to promote? I know you have a 7-day all-access special you want to talk about.
Yes, well, we always talk about, the day-to-day picks and stuff like that, but it's great to look for the long term. I'm betting UFC. I'm, low volume betting NBA, NHL, of course, Major League Baseball, and, of course, this World Hockey Tournament. I do have a promo going right now, week 6-9. That takes $30 off a week pass, gets you 1 week of all-access plays for $69. That's week 6-9. Use that at my profile page. Getting plays across the board. Yesterday, I had action in NHL, NBA, and MLB. So if you want my plays, don't buy just one play a day. My favorite play, get them all by using week 6-9 at WagerTalk.com. Thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome stuff, Andrew. Just so good, Teddy. God, he's just embarking on his journey of life and work. Woman, he hasn't had a kid yet. Oh, the world is your oyster, Andrew. Keep going, Teddy.
Okay, Grandpa. Dude, you sound older and older every day.
Teddy, yesterday I'm on the golf course and I text Vivian and she's like, well, how's it going? I'm with my dad. And I'm like, two old angry men who can't be around each other. Why are we doing this? Why every second week do we golf together when all we do is yell at each other? So yeah, dude. Waldorf. I was Waldorf yesterday. Do you know who Waldorf is?
Let's get into the BS segment.
Okay. No. Guys, if you know who Waldorf is, put it up in the chat room. BS. Oh, there's Art. Okay, let's get to the BS segment. We're going to run this show for another 12 minutes because we want Art. Joe, cue it up. Okay, guys, we're only going to do one question today, and that question is from Schmidt Happens. Greg Macaluso will do your question tomorrow. Teddy Schmidt writes, how much does the revenge angle factor into your betting decisions? Can you quantify it? And does it matter more in some sports versus others? I was inspired to ask this after seeing how openly the Miami Heat have talked about their desire for payback against Boston. Thanks for your consideration. And just for the record to add, Kansas City Chiefs had a game, I think, against San Francisco this past year where they came out and openly discussed it as well, went in there and whooped their ass. I want to hear your answer on this. I'm going to be quiet, Teddy, because this is right in your sweet spot.
Sure. The answer is sometimes for some amount. There's no way to quantify it. And certainly when you... As a handicapper, we're looking for situations where there's something that's not factored correctly into the point spread or the money line. That's what we look for. This isn't factored right. That isn't factored right. They're not taking this into account. The markets are missing this. And that's where you find your edges. When it comes to revenge, there's revenge after every single loss, in theory. There are more meaningful revenge scenarios than others. Playoff revenge, a particularly demoralizing loss, and there's a short turnaround between the rematch. There are definitely situations where you're going to take revenge into account, where it's not going to be factored in the points because the team is particularly motivated. When it comes to a playoff series like Miami-Boston, I'm going to call it a virtual non-factor. I don't think the Heat are up 3-1 against the Celtics because they had revenge for last year. I think they just played better basketball than Boston for at least 3 out of the 4 games in this series. That's not revenge as the key factor. It's not like Boston's not interested or not excited about playing. That's Miami's out executing them. So the answer is a little bit sometimes, but it's certainly an overused concept in the sports betting world. If you said, I'm never factoring in revenge, I think you'd be better off than if you said, I'm factoring in revenge every single time. Lawrence?
Teddy, I thought that answer was awesome. I never factor in revenge. That is my answer. It is irrelevant to me. With that said, I will hold it in the back of my head in order to keep me off of a bet, but it won't put me on a bet. And when people say, hey, take, for instance, the playoffs, a team loses game 1, they're now in revenge mode for game 2. That's not revenge. They're in the middle of a playoffs, and they need to win to get through to the next round. That does not count as revenge. You're watching Wager Talk Today with Statler and Waldorf. Art DiCesare joining us, everyone. Art, do you know who those two people are?
I have
you know
no
who they
idea
are?
who those people are. No shot.
Well, Mike Ramsey knows. They're the 2 decrepit old men in the Muppets who just sit there, whine, and complain about everything.
Oh, in the balcony?
Yeah. The balcony Muppets
right.
guys.
How
are you, brother?
Said, balcony Muppets guys. I'm good. I'm doing good. Prez, happy birthday again.
Dude, Art, it really meant a lot that you texted me on my birthday because you thought about me. You took time to do it, so thank you. Really appreciate it. The rest of the guys, like Teddy, Teddy did nothing. Not like zero. Yeah, zero.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Teddy, get some well, Art, really quick, do you take any bets on this World Championship of Hockey nonsense? Like, you take one bet a day? Is anything?
No, it was good to hear Andrew talk about that. We do, when we offer things, when we book things, whether it's smaller soccer leagues or World Championship hockey, we do take bets on it. And a lot of the times it's people looking for a different number. Let's say, I know he was talking about that total, 5 under minus 115. Let's just say we had, even money on that, or we had plus 105 on that under, because that's kind of where we were booking for it. Booking it. We see a lot of people kind of take the off numbers sometimes or try to find a different price. So we do see that when we book those smaller markets.
Now, is that just arbitrage? Is that just guys trying to that really don't know anything about hockey and just trying to get the best of the number here and the best of the number there? A lot of times, bettors look at a screen, the WagerTalk Live odds screen. They go, "Oh, the odds are moving." That it means something. Is a lot of those bets just, guys have a plus price here and they're trying to get a plus price there. They have a under 5 here and they're betting over 4 there. Is there more arbitrage than the casual bettor might think?
When it comes to those smaller markets, Teddy, to me, that's the type of bets we receive. I think there's no doubt about it. I don't think the normal, regular, general public player even recognizes that those games are there or even available that we take bets on. So, yes, I think it's people who have multiple books. They're in multiple states maybe. They're working with the team, and they can kind of, scrape a couple of pennies on either side. I think a lot of people look to bet that way.
So let's shift into some actual info on the playoff series, because we've got 3-0 in the NBA. We've got 3-0 in the NHL. And now all of a sudden it's 3-1 in the NBA. And things look interesting. From a series price standpoint, you guys don't have any liability on NBA or NHL. And are any of these teams primed to make a comeback? Do bettors think that any of the 3 teams that were down 3-0 are primed to make a comeback and win the series? How's the action coming for Boston, Miami, I guess, is a long way of coming about that question. Are you seeing anything on the dogs in the 2 NHL series?
As far as the series prices and for people to come back, we really haven't seen much. For us, Miami actually winning the series is not a bad thing for us. Them getting to the finals and winning. Now, we have gotten the Lakers out of there, which is great. The Lakers were by far our biggest loss, our biggest liability for the West and the title. Miami, not as bad for the East, but probably our second worst of the remaining playoff teams kind of when we started, with the Warriors as well to win it all. So, Miami is most likely going to get to the finals, and, we'll deal with it when we get there. But Miami winning the series is fine. Vegas actually winning their series is good for us. We had a lot of people take the Stars with that plus money, plus 130, plus 125. So Vegas is going to be a good result for us. They won't be a good result if they end up winning the Cup, but, that's a different story. And as far as the NHL comebacks, nobody thinks there's any comebacks. We have not seen anyone take a shot with any of these teams to come back from 3-0.
I'm pretty sure you used the wrong word there, Art. You said if they win the Cup as opposed to when Vegas wins the Cup, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that the thought process here in town? Vegas is the favorite. Now they're chalk against the field, correct?
They are. They are now. You can't get plus money anymore. We have the Knights minus 110 to win the Cup. So, yeah, I mean,
you know why?
The Knights. Let me hear it, Prez.
They have the most skaters from Toronto on their team. Listen, totally obvious. The Toronto Golden Knights.
They've been wonderful.
They represent wonderful. Toronto more than the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay. So are you going to say this is the first Cup since 93?
No. A Canadian team wins the Cup every single year. They're just being loaned out to another city.
You know what? I actually don't disagree with that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All right, real quick, before we let you go, we got to talk really a little MLB.
Go ahead. All you, Teddy. I will sit here. I want that.
As you said, Lawrence types all you, then interrupts us for talking, and then tries to ask the next question. I want to talk a little MLB. Let me talk NFL first. Anything doing with the NFL betting markets right now? Week 1, season wins, or is it no action yet?
Week 1's an interesting one that you brought up, Teddy. Obviously, when we get our week 1s up, there are other places that have week 1s up. And what you see is people taking shots on, once again, kind of off lines. If we're offering 7 and there's a 7.5 out there, if there's a total of 44, but we have 43. So you see type of that. People kind of, like you said, watching the board, looking at the board, and maybe trying to find a middle or get the best number or look at the key numbers in the NFL and bet that in week 1.
Arthur DiCesare at ArtDice21 on Twitter, risk management supervisor over the Westgate Superbook. Art, last question before we let you go. MLB for today. What are you seeing? Who do the pros like? Who do the Joes like?
A couple of overnights that we saw the pros take. San Diego, the Padres, saw some money come in there against the Nats. Boston as well, playing the Angels. And then a total, the game that obviously was wild yesterday with a 21-run game. We saw the Blue Jays open at 8. It's now 8.5. A lot of the times you see, not an overreaction, but when you see a run outburst, I think people like to come back the next day and bet it again for the over. So that's why you've seen the half-point move to the over, or the half-run total to the over.
Art DiCesare joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at ArtDice21, a great friend of the show, great friend of Teddy and me. He does like me more than Teddy. That's private. Art, what do you have to promote? And then we have to let you go.
Prez, I definitely do not like you more than Teddy. I'm just going to say that. What I have to promote is the Westgate, as always, guys. Listen, it's, it's one of the jewels of Vegas, man. It's the place to come down, get your action in. If you're a local, we got the back parking lot, which is always great for the bettors to come in and out. And as always, I literally once a week have someone from WagerTalk family come in and say, I see you on the show, and we talk. So if anyone ever needs to come down and needs help with anything at the Westgate, come ask for Arthur DiCesare, and I'll help you out with whatever you need.
There you go. Art DiCesare, everyone. Teddy, no presidential address. We were 20 likes short. WTF. I have to run to the eye doctor. I'm eating Nando's chicken sandwich today. Tomorrow is my last show for a couple of weeks. Take us home, brother.
That's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition of Wager Talk Today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend with us right here on Wager Talk TV. Be sure to stay tuned for our litany of shows throughout the day, throughout the week. And we'll be back right here doing Wager Talk Today tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and best of luck with all your wagers.
The Prez turns 54 on May 22nd, and we want to celebrate Lawrence's 54th birthday all week long by offering everyone 7 days of his selections for just $54 using coupon code PREZ54 when checking out on a 7-day all-access pass. That's every play in every sport for 7 days, including any 5% releases for just $54 versus a regular price of $99, coming out to only $7.71 per day. Over the last 365 days, Prez has picked up 60 units for his clients, and you can bet right alongside him for the next 7 days, including getting down on any rare 5% best bets released during your access that normally sell for $35 each. Just like fine wine, the Prez is getting better with age. Happy birthday, Prez, and take advantage of code PREZ54 and get 7 days for only $54.